Good evening and welcome to our Lenten Paeans, Day 8. This is recorded on Tuesday evenings for publication on Wednesday morning, first thing I say. I'm not normally up at 6 o'clock, but the videos do get published at 6. So we continue on with our passages through the Gospel of Matthew. Today we look at verses 38 through 42. Concerning retaliation, you have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, do not resist an evildoer. But if anyone strikes you on the right cheek, turn the other also. And if anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, give your coat as well. And if anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go also the 2nd mile. Give to the one who asks of you, and do not refuse anyone who wants to borrow from you. Now, I don't know about you guys, but the way I was brought up was slightly different to those verses. Especially in boarding school, when an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth was fairly normal. But we won't go there. Trying to continue on looking for positive things to take away from these verses. I know it's been difficult for some of these verses, but the way I see this is Jesus is trying to get people to start thinking about each other and the ways that other people live life, not just yourself. And I think this carries on in that theme. I know yesterday we were talking with Rev Kathy, and it's all about starting to think about other people and not just yourselves. Has anyone else got some thoughts on these tough verses?
I think it's interesting, like you say, we quite often, that phrase, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, we're quite often brought up in that sort of idea. Somebody does something to you, you do it back, and,
yes.
And that makes you even. And this was obviously the case here. Jesus says, you have heard that it was said, so it's obviously something that was known and was well known, and that was what was happening. And like you say, DJ, he's trying to get you to sort of turn your thoughts into thinking about other people.
Yeah.
And perhaps actually, yes, that person's done X, Y, Z to me, rather than just hitting back instantly, perhaps sitting back and thinking, but why has that happened? Can I unpick that a bit more? Is there something else going on in that person's life that actually has made them behave in that way or act that way? There might be more to it than meets the eye, to use the phrase in the passage.
Yeah,
I think there is that cycle we get into. It's an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Then they retaliate for an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth.
Yes.
We have a never-ending cycle, and we can look at places from what happened in Ireland or the Middle East and so forth.
Yeah, history is, I was going to say history is speckled with things like that, but it's not. It's filled with things like that. world wars start by one person doing something
Yeah.
and everyone piling on bigger and bigger things to try and prove their worth or something like that.
Well, they started it.
Yeah.
But that kind of idea of actually, they started it, so I've retaliated and
Yes. Yeah.
and taken that moment to take a step back and go, okay, like you say, what's the cause of this? All behaviour is communication.
Yeah.
Something's trying to be communicated. Actually, if we lean into it rather than put a barrier up against it, and lean into, okay, so what is it that you're trying to tell me? What is it you need from me? Suddenly the world becomes a slightly different place. Lead with love rather than aggression.
Yes. Yeah.
That idea of do not resist the evildoer.
Yeah, don't just cast them aside.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Or retaliate towards them,
Yes.
but actually embrace them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the last sentence, the last verse. Give to the one who asks of you, and do not refuse anyone who wants to borrow from you. If we as a society would live more in that vein, I think a lot more people would be happier.
I think there'd be a lot more respect.
Yes.
And that kind of very much goes along what we've tried to do with the Lenten porch pantry. That idea of give to the one who asks of you, give that generosity of actually, you know, and sharing what wealth we have.
Yeah.
It's like you were saying at the beginning, you know, at boarding school, you know, you were brought up to have this way of life, and I think even now we're very much driven about, you know, how much money can we earn, what car can we have, but where can we get our clothes from that's a really good brand that we can say, oh, I got it from here. And we're all very much, if we turn into ourselves, through our own fault partly, but through sort of marketing and advertising and what we see on social media and people that, you know, celebrities and things. And
yes, social media has a lot to answer for. I think things like that have brought out the worst side of people instead of bringing out the good side. I mean, things like that were initially set up to make life better. I can remember the first instant messenger things that were set up were to make it better for people. But we've seen so much of it being abused. And I think Jesus is just trying to say, get away from that abusive culture and look more to righteousness. It's a lot to think about.
Yeah, I rather like the one, and if anyone forces you to go 1 mile, then you also go a second mile.
Yes.
It's a bit of fun there, actually, isn't there? You know, it's sort of, well, I'll teach this person, I'll do it, then I'll go on a second mile. And the person as opposed to taking the initiative, he's lost it. You know, he's suddenly looking rather silly, you know, sort of, and it's again sort of breaking these cycles, isn't it? That person would have to go away sort of thinking and pondering and what do you say when that happens?
Yes, we often use that phrase, don't we? Kill them with kindness.
Yeah, that's a good one.
When somebody does something to you, you just kill them with kindness back, and that changes sometimes their perspective and their feeling about it, and you know it can bring the situation down as well, rather than sort of heighten it with the retaliation.
So I think that will be a good place to end this evening. Thank you, Brian and Greg and Charlotte. If you do want to join in on a Tuesday evening, come along at the end of our open church I start trying to set things up at 6:45 so that we can finish and go before the heating turns off and gets cold. Thank you once again for joining us, and we will see you in the next one. God bless.
God bless.
We hope and pray these sessions will give you something positive to see and look forward to, something you may wish to share with others. Please do. You can see the series unfold on our YouTube channel at St. Felix, Rendlesham, and by visiting our church website, rendleshamchurch.org. Should you wish to contact us, please do so by email on info@rendleshamchurch.org. God bless, and we'll see you in the next video.